Hello everyone, the Trail Guy here, and welcome. I'm really excited today. Our topic is going to be slowly get into the trail stuff, and I'm excited to have a special guest again today with us. This gentleman is a very, very close friend of mine. He's been running 119 ultra marathons. So we're going to get a lot of insight, thoughts, suggestions from this gentleman. Before I do introduce to him, though, I'm just going to give you the quick quote of the week. Last week I sort of got excited too, and I didn't mention it, but it was in the background. But the quote this time is, "Life is death without adventure. Adventure only comes to those willing to be bold and take chances." Absorb this quote. It's powerful. Now, I'm going to introduce them, and I'm going to call in Moe the Eagle. He's been around a lot of, he's very well known in the ultra community, and I'm going to call in Moe the Eagle. Can you come in, Moe? Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, geez, that's great to be here. Good, very good. Listen, you don't mind if I ask you a few questions?
Oh, no, not at
all
all.
right, okay, I've got them started down here organized. Now, first question I'd like to ask, Mo, could you kind of give everyone viewing an overview of your running background, sort of how you got started running, and can you do that, Mo?
Sure, I'll try to be brief. Brief's not my strong suit. Basically, I started 31 years ago. I went running one day with my kids down the end of a lane in Prince George on a dirt road.
Yes.
And when I got to the end of the lane, I was huffing and puffing. I never had a big beer gut, but I must have had a big rear, a big head, because I weighed 211 pounds.
Wow.
And when I got to the end of the lane, I thought, that's it. And I had always been in jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, so I was always fit until about a 5-year span where I kind of let it go. I guess I was successful as an ad executive.
Yes.
And I just kind of let it go, and I decided that day, 31 years ago. Then I got down to 190 pounds. I was running 3-4 hours every second or third day. I was going that long. This was the first 6 months. I got really keen on it.
Yes.
And went out on long runs, got lost a few times. That's how I knew I could go a long ways.
Oh, okay.
And then basically, then I went for years down to about 183 pounds until I had a little bout with throat cancer last year, and I dropped down to 148. Now I'm at 173, 174. I don't care if I gain another ounce, because that seems to be my sticking point now. I seem to stay there.
So again, to recap, how many ultras have you done, and now which one are you training for right now?
Well, I'm training for a small one in Kelowna. Well, small sounds funny,
Yeah.
but a 50K in Kelowna as a step up to our big one, the 100 miler in Leadville. But in Kelowna, it's going to be a 50K, and it's actually 3.5 weeks from now, and it'll be somewhat rugged. The standard 6,000-7,000 feet of climb, fairly technical.
And that's your 100 and what?
That'll be my 120th. So,
That's your 120th.
So right now it's 119.
And again, everyone, to let you know, Mo and three other of us from Victoria are doing the Leadville 100 in August, and this will be your third time for Leadville?
Be third, yeah.
Third turn, okay. Now, how did you discover how did you discover your passion for trail running?
Well, with me, I think it was always there, because I went hunting when I was a kid with my uncles. I always liked being outside.
Yes.
And I've always had the feeling that being outside is primal. It's an instinct known to prehistoric man.
Yes.
And I think we belong out there. It's just we've forgotten, because we live such a structured life. We never get out of ourselves and outside. So
Yes.
I think it just always kind of was there.
Good, good. Now, what does it mean to you to be a trail runner, and why is it so important?
Well, to be a trail runner is, again, to reiterate what I just said, in a way, I can get out in nature. I'm more in touch with myself. I'm running with my buddies such as you and the trail group, and
Yes.
and I can kind of, you're listening to your breath. You're looking at waterfalls. I mean, nothing needs road running. I did it a lot of years, but
Yes.
the thing is, it just holds no appeal for me anymore. I'm running behind a bus sucking fumes. I'd rather be out in the woods.
That's it. Okay. Now, what advice would you give someone who's thinking about trail running at any age, and what has been a waste of time?
Well, basically, any age. The old saw is you can start any time, and that's true. I mean, it doesn't
Yes.
matter. You had a guest here recently that was 80 years old, so you can start any time. And I don't think, what was the last part of the question, Mike? I'm sorry.
What was sort of a waste of time? What have you learned over the
I've
years?
never really thought that running was a waste of time. I've always been fairly motivated about it, and really, to not train is a waste of time. To procrastinate and say, well, I'd like to get out there, but I haven't got the time. But you got to make the time. You got to structure it into your life. And basically, Mike, I think, I'd like to procrastinate, but I keep putting it off.
Okay, now what do you believe great trail running is, and why is it important?
Well, it's important because basically, again, it gets us out there. It can get us to go further than we've ever gone before. It gives us a very positive mental attitude about things. And we only have two choices, to be positive or negative, and we may as well choose to be positive.
That's great. Now, what do you like to do most in your training?
Well, I like everything, but I tend to prefer hills, and that's because I know I can improve a lot in them. Like I don't see them as really my strength, and I've gone the opposite way. I like to do what I don't like sometimes.
Oh, I see. Okay, good. Okay, now, if a person is frustrated with their trail running, what's your advice? What do you think they should do?
Well, I can't understand the frustrated part myself, but I know people must. And I would think that probably if they're frustrated, they might be lacking a little motivation. So there's kind of strength in numbers that way. Guys like yourself can go out and train by yourself, it's not a problem. But sometimes people, to get that little boost, need to run with others. So if they run with a group such as yourself, it basically keeps them on track, keeps them motivated.
Yeah, I kind of find too, if I set a goal for a run or something, I feel that's my sort of motivation, that's my focus, that keeps me on straight. Would you sort of agree with that too?
Yeah, you have to have a goal. I mean, first of all, the old thing from motivational speakers is you have to conceive, and then you have to believe, and then you achieve. So the achieve part is the action part.
The plan of action, I see, okay. Now, of course, nutrition is very important, especially in long distance running, but why do you think nutrition is so important to think about as a
I think it's important because even if you're not being that competitive, you just say like there's two buddies and you have sort of equal ability.
Yes.
You have to have equal ability, and the one that has the better diet will usually prevail. That's been proven over eons now, and we kind of forget. Sometimes people think, well, I've got some talent, but I can eat anything I want. So I think diet is
very important. Now I know you mentioned briefly, I didn't want to, this is a total subject, but you did have a bout of throat cancer. Could you sort of give us that time span when you found out about it, and then amazing, and Moe with his positive mental attitude overcame throat cancer, guys. This is a powerful story. Could you just sort of briefly go over that, how the time span?
People do overcome it. I think the first thing is you have to have a good circle of family and friends. You can't be isolated. If you isolate yourself, there's no strength in that. No man's an island, and especially in something like that. And I just found that I had to stay positive. I had to have a good circle of family and friends. I said I had to change my diet so that my diet was always fairly good, but what I did is I got away from acidic foods. And I could go into all that, but I mean, that's another topic. But I would say the number one thing that I changed of all my diet is I dropped sugar.
Yes.
Our forefathers would have eaten about 5 pounds per year per person of sugar.
Wow. Wow.
Now it's your weight. It's about 150 pounds. In England, it's 200 pounds per year per person. Not to pick on England, that's the way it's going. There's sugar and fructose syrup in everything we eat.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, what is your best experience in trail running?
There's lots of them. I love Leadville for the high plateaus and high elevation and just the beauty of it up there. I like being in the desert.
So many then
there's quite a few. I mean, I like them all, and I guess if we had time, I could tell you about 10 different ones. But,
Yes, okay. Okay, well that's good. Now I'm going to ask you a couple fun questions.
Sure.
First of all, who's your number one hero?
My number one hero is this sounds a bit egotistical or arrogant. My number one hero is myself. And the reason I think that is we can all be our best own heroes. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't admire people like yourself, the run group, my son Logan, who went through a car accident and is a great ultra runner now. I think that sometimes we lose sight of the fact that we can be our own hero. It's as simple as that.
That's it.
Put ourselves up there and think, what can I achieve now?
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, if you could have any one superpower, what would it be?
Well, probably the X-ray vision, but no, that would get me in trouble. So I would have to think that, it sounds a little airy-fairy, but I would think that if you could somehow instill in more people to be nicer to each other.
Oh.
I mean, we drive around in traffic all day, and there's enough bird flipping to provide the energy to warm the planet. I mean, people are always angry at each other.
Yes.
And I would like to think it'd be nice if you could kind of diffuse some of that, make people a little nicer.
Yes. Now, what is the single most important thing you've learned about trail running?
Well, again, just the fact that I know you can be quite a durable, you can be a good animal, as George Sheehan used to say. You can be your own best animal. You can get back to nature. You can kind of find a little energy and a little courage within yourself when you think that's lacking.
Okay, good. Now, what is the biggest misconception about you, Mo?
Probably it always has been that they think I'm kind of extraordinary. But really, I'm just an ordinary guy.
All right.
Sometimes I do something a little extraordinary, but it's still, I don't think of myself any different.
Good. Now, what do you want written on your tombstone?
I think probably, let me see, he died with his boots on. His hiking boots are his running shoes. And it's not how much ground they put on you, it's how much ground you cover.
Oh, I love that, love that. And our final question here, our final thought, any final thoughts or advice for trail runners out there?
Just get out there and do it. Find a group that'll motivate you. If you want to change your life at all, there's ways you can do it. Trail running is one way that you can really change your life. I mean, you'll never go back. And like you had said in one of your shows before, I don't consider it myself either an addiction. I consider it a passion and pastime.
Yes, very good. So that's great. I'm looking forward to, of course, our training's been going very well for Leadville, and we're taking off there in August, and all the best. Thanks for coming here,
no problem.
Mo, and I really appreciate your insights. Now, if you want to just briefly here, I'm just going to briefly mention to everyone the book of the week. Now, this is a recent book I've started reading, and it is a powerful. It's called The Charge. And it's by a guy named Brendan Burchard. And it's called The Charge, and in activating the 10 human drives that make you feel alive. So far, the read is powerful. And basically, he says we live 3 lives: a caged life, a comfortable life, and a charged life. Man, oh man, wow. Great ideas and great thoughts in here. So I remember this. You can get this on Amazon.com now. I think it's like $18 or something. So guys, thanks again for your time. Until next week, remember the trail guy. Take care. Love you guys.